Good morning, 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 everybody. I hope everybody's day is off to a great start. I'm thankful to be in the land of the living this morning. I'm thankful to be amongst the living this morning. I'm thankful that God woke me up this morning and gave me another chance. So for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Grace Amber. I come on different platforms whenever God gives me a word to share. I come on and I share it with you. So really quick this morning, happy Wednesday. Thank God it's a short week. I want to come on really quick this morning and talk to you from the topic of silent vindication. What am I talking about today? Let's jump in. So I know that all of you have probably heard about the story of Joseph in the Bible. Now I'm not talking about Jesus's biological father. I'm talking about the Joseph that's back in the book of Genesis. And Joseph, that Joseph, was the son of Jacob. And if you perchance do not know much about the Bible, or you do not know the story of Joseph, I'm going to try to fast forward and speed through this thing today because I got a good word for you, so just stay tuned. Now let's start with the story of Joseph. I've kind of gone and skipped back and forth trying to make it as quick as possible so I can get to the point. If you want to know the full story of Joseph, it starts Genesis 37th chapter and then it goes all the way into the 50th chapter of Genesis. So Joseph is an interesting story. He is most commonly known as the one that got thrown in the pit by his brothers. Let me give you some background story about Joseph. So Genesis 37 verses 2 through 4, this is NIV translation. This is the account of Jacob's family line. Joseph, a young man of 17, was tending the flocks with his brothers, the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives, and he brought their father a bad report about them. Now Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons because he had been born to him in his old age, and he made an ornate robe for him. Many people have called this the coat of many colors. You may have heard of this call. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. So the scripture refers to Jacob as Israel. And Israel's also a place too. So when the scripture says, now Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, the Bible is talking about Jacob because Joseph is a son of Jacob. So from the beginning of Joseph's story, his brothers hated him. Fast forward, Joseph told them about two dreams that he had. And both of those dreams were of him being elevated. One amongst his brother, and one also he was talking about, like I think he said, I see the moon and the stars maybe bowing down to mine or something like that. So bottom line is Joseph shared two dreams with his brothers. In these dreams, Joseph shared dreams of him being elevated. Now, it takes a special person of special, noble, honorable character to not get in their flesh, to not become jealous and envious when somebody comes to you with a dream that they're going to be elevated above you and you're going to bow down to them and you're going to do what they tell you to do. Quite naturally, his brothers did not take kindly to that. The backstory tells you that Joseph already had favor. The backstory tells you Joseph was Jacob's favorite son. The backstory already tells you that Joseph had favor on him, favor from the place, favor from his father, and he kept having dreams of being elevated amongst his brothers and above his brothers, to which they let their flesh get the best of them, and they plotted to throw him into a pit. So they plotted to throw him into a pit. They threw him into a pit, then eventually sold him into slavery. Now, once he was sold into slavery, from there he was eventually taken to Egypt. While in Egypt, he ended up in the company in the home of Potiphar. Potiphar was one of Pharaoh's officials, right? Genesis 39:2, the Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered, and he lived in the house of his Egyptian master. Now, Joseph was handsome and good looking. So because Joseph was so handsome and good looking, Potiphar's wife took a liking to Joseph. Now, Potiphar's wife propositioned Joseph. Now, what does proposition mean? Threw herself at him, offered herself in bed to Joseph. Both times, Joseph declined. Now, his rejection of her made her feel some kind of way, to which she then devised a lie. And not only did she devise a lie in her sick head, she also told the lie. She told Potiphar that Joseph tried to make sport of her. Genesis 39:12-20, she caught him by his cloak and said, come to bed with me, but he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house, talking about Joseph. When she saw that he had left his cloak in her hand and had run out of the house, she called her household servants. "Look," she said to them, "this Hebrew has been brought to us to make sport of us. He came in here to sleep with me, but I screamed. When he heard me scream for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house. She kept his cloak beside her until his master came home. Then she told him this story, the lie. That Hebrew slave you brought us came to me to make sport of me. But as soon as I screamed for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house. When his master heard the story, his wife told him, saying, 'This is how your slave treated me.' He burned with anger. Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. But while Joseph was there in prison, fast forward, God showed him favor." Now, Joseph ended up in prison, not because of something he had actually done, but Joseph ended up in prison because of a lie. But even when Joseph was in prison there, God still showed him favor. And God gave Joseph a gift that caused Joseph to be able to meet a need that no one else could meet. Joseph was able to interpret dreams that no one else could understand. Fast forward, Pharaoh had 2 dreams that troubled him. He wanted to know, what do these dreams mean? Someone who was locked up with Joseph in prison remembered that Joseph had the gift of interpreting dreams. So they sent for Joseph. Joseph came and was able to interpret Pharaoh's dreams. And because he was able to interpret Pharaoh's dreams, Genesis 41:39-40 says, "Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, 'Since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you.'" Fast forward again. Pharaoh put Joseph in charge of Egypt. Now, famine hit the whole land of every place around them. But in Egypt, there was abundance. Well, Joseph's brothers, the same one that threw him in the pit and sold him into slavery, Joseph's brothers, the same ones that sold him into slavery, guess what? They were in a place where there was famine. And because they had a need, they had to go to Egypt where there was abundance. When they got to Egypt, guess who they came in contact with? The same brother that they sold into slavery and left for dead. Now, Joseph ultimately did the right thing. Genesis 50:18-21, his brothers then came and threw themselves down before him. "We are your slaves," they said. But Joseph said to them, "Don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children." And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. Now, this is the gist of Joseph's story. But I want to get back to the lie that Potiphar's wife told on Joseph. If you read the full story of Joseph, you will find that the lie was never corrected. You will find that the truth was never exposed. You will not find that Joseph was ever exonerated of the lie. Now, how about that? Joseph did the right thing. Joseph was put in a compromising, uncomfortable situation with Potiphar's wife, not because he had done something wrong, but because she was perverted and sick. And her perversion and her sickness made a situation uncomfortable for Joseph. She propositioned him 2 times, and both times Joseph did what was right. Because she was already sick here and here, because she was perverted, because she had her own mental and emotional insecurities, probably physical insecurities too. She had a hard time dealing with somebody who did the right thing, which caused her to be rejected in the process. So what she did was as low as a person can go. She not only lied on him, but she made it seem like he took advantage of her and tried to do something with her that he never did. Instead, he didn't just walk away. The scripture said he ran away from doing wrong, and she lied on him. But yet we find in scripture the lie was never corrected. Yet we find in scripture the truth was never exposed. Yet we don't see anywhere in scripture where Joseph was exonerated from this lie that Potiphar's wife told on him. She said that he tried to take advantage of her when in actuality, he rejected her and he did the right thing. She lied on him. See, lies are nothing new. Lying is not a new phenomenon. You hear people say there's nothing new under the sun. It's somewhere in the Bible. I believe it's in Ecclesiastes where it says there's nothing new under the sun. I believe it's in Ecclesiastes. If it is, I'll put it in the description. Lying is not a new phenomenon. See, Jesus was even lied on. In this story, Joseph was lied on. And if Jesus can be lied on, who are we to think that we are above being lied on? Now, when somebody lies on you, it really makes you angry, right? When you're lied on, you desire for the truth to come out. The same way somebody made a public lie about you, when you're lied on, you want them to come back and publicly tell the truth. You want somebody to come and publicly tell the truth. Because you know what really happened. You know you didn't say that. You know you didn't do that. But oftentimes we will find ourselves in the company of one person, a liar. And so when they tell a lie, it's your word against theirs. But God knows all things. When you are lied on, you want the truth to come out and you want the liar to be exposed for who and what they are. Here's the truth about liars, right? For a person to devise and scheme a dangerous lie, for a person to tell a bold-faced lie, as we say, for a person to do that, they have some mental illness. And we're going to be real about this thing today. For a person to lie on you and you did nothing wrong to them but be good to them, something is wrong here and something is wrong here. They probably have mental insecurities, emotional insecurities, emotional illness. They are not emotionally well. They are not mentally well. And they probably also have physical insecurity. And 9 times out of 10, if you were able to see their heart, 9 times out of 10, it was probably also some envy mixed up in there, right? So when they devise a lie against you, they know the truth. They know you didn't say that. They know you didn't do that. They know what they did. They know the truth. But guess what? Even if the truth was exposed, people who believe lies 9 times out of 10 believe the lie because they want justification for how they treat you. I'm going to give you that again. When someone lies on you and they go tell other people and you tell the truth and people choose not to believe you, not because there's evidence to call you a liar, not because there's evidence to disprove what you have said, not that there's evidence to support the liar, but they just choose to take sides and believe the liar. 9 times out of 10, there is a common spirit between them and the liar. 9 times out of 10, they too are mentally ill. Their heart is sour and bad towards you. They have mental, emotional, and physical illness and insecurity. And so when people come and tell them a lie about you, they would rather believe the lie than accept the truth. Because if they accept the truth, they also then have to deal with why do they dislike you? Why are they jealous of you? Why do they treat you the way that they treat you when you have done nothing to cause it? So instead of them wanting to deal with some harsh truths and reality, they would rather accept the lie. So we look at the story of Joseph, and Potiphar's wife told a dangerous lie on Joseph and said that he tried to have his way with her. If you notice in the scripture, the lie was never corrected. The truth was never exposed. Joseph was never exonerated of the lie, right? When we get lied on, we want vindication. When somebody has publicly gone out and told a lie, you want it to be publicly said that it was not true. But God is not a God that he wants to waste anything. So there are times where God would allow the truth to be publicly put out, just like the lie was. But that's when it would actually make a difference. But when God looks down and he sees that you're dealing with people who are envious of you, people who have emotional illness, mental illness, sometimes physical illness, when he looks down and he sees the heart and the character of those who are accusing you and who continue to perpetuate a lie, God already know that even if the truth was exposed, they're still going to hold on to the lie, because that's just another testament of how screwed up in the head and the heart they are. So because God is not a God that likes to waste anything, he don't like to waste his time, and he don't like to waste his effort. So devising a way to expose the truth and give you public vindication is not how God operates when he knows that you're amongst people who would rather believe a lie than to believe the truth. He don't waste his time with that. Let's look at what God did to Joseph. Potiphar's wife lied on Joseph, and the scripture never said the lie was straightened out. Instead, the scripture walked out and displayed silent vindication. The lie that Potiphar's wife told on Joseph was never straightened out. No, Joseph didn't get that type of vindication. Instead, God gave Joseph silent vindication. Silent vindication in the form of favor everywhere he went. Silent vindication in the form of elevation. Silent vindication in the form of making his enemies his footstool. When we're lied on, we want God to vindicate us. We want the truth to be exposed. The truth is, your enemies know the truth. They just want to hold on to the lie to justify their mental and their emotional sickness. They know the truth, but they just want to keep the lie going to justify why they hate and dislike you. They know the truth, but the lie makes them feel better. So God ain't wasting no time and no effort trying to get public exposure of what really happened. It's not going to make a difference among those around you. The ones who keep perpetuating the lie, the ones who have told this story, they've told the lie so long that they actually believe it themselves. No, God ain't going to waste his time exposing the truth to them, because they don't want the truth. They don't want to be set free, because the truth will make you free if you know the truth. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And they don't want to know the truth because they don't want to be set free. Set free to deal with why in the world they would believe and perpetuate a lie on somebody who did nothing but try to help them. They don't want the truth. They want the lie. So God is not giving you public vindication. Instead, he's going to give you silent vindication. He's going to give you favor on favor on favor. He's going to give you blessings on blessings on blessings. He's going to elevate you in the presence of your enemies. You want the truth exposed. You want public, loud declaration of truth. God said he can do you one better than that. He's giving you silent vindication. He's giving you a favor that your enemies can't deny. He's giving you gifts that make room for you. He's opening doors that no man can shut. An elevation that's going to really drive your enemies crazy. If you think they're loony now, wait until they get done watching what God is going to do for you and elevate you in the presence of them. God has seen the lie, he's seen the plots, he's seen the ploys, and he sits back and laughs. Let me give you the scripture, then I'm going to let you go today. Psalm 37, 1-11, KJV. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. Fret not yourselves because of evildoers and workers of iniquity and lies and scheming and plotting. Don't fret yourself. Fret not yourself because of evildoers. Wait upon the Lord and watch God give you something way better, 10 times better than public vindication. God is going to give you silent vindication. Fret not yourself because of these evildoers and workers of iniquity. Wait upon the Lord and watch God give you the same silent vindication that he gave Joseph. I love you. I hope that word blessed you today. Happy Wednesday. I am Grace Amber. I'll be right back on tomorrow with another word, good Lord willing.